Hey everybody. I've decided that I'm going to do, whenever I see movies in one weekend, I'm going to go ahead and just put the reviews together into one video and just try to quicken up my reviews. Just because my computer's really slow and it's a pain in the butt to upload multiple ones. So I'm going to try to only put up 1 or 2 videos a week and just put all my movie reviews into one video a week. I'm going to try to be doing that and try to just make the reviews sort of condensed. So we've got a dual review on this one. We've got Quantum of Solace and Changeling. Now I said on my last video on Madagascar 2 that I was a little iffy about Changeling, and I was going into it on Metacritic, which is a website that averages out scores from a lot of major newspapers and websites. It's got a 62 out of 100, I think, which is considered generally favorable reviews, but it's not as high as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be in the 80s or 90s. I was expecting it to be Best Picture nomination worthy. Unfortunately, it didn't get that good of a reception. I really enjoy this movie a lot, though. It's about Angelina Jolie. She plays Christine Collins, and her son goes missing one day, and she asks the LAPD. This takes place in early 1928, and the story goes through until 1935. She asks the LAPD to help her find her son, and after a 6-month investigation, they bring back a boy who they say is her son, but she says it's not. And thus begins a long, arduous journey of trying to get justice and trying to find her son. I don't want to give anything else away, but really, I was kind of surprised. The trailers only reveal what the first half of the movie shows. The movie works like a Law and Order episode. The first half of the movie being the investigation, the second half being the aftermath and the courtroom scenes. And there are quite a few courtroom scenes in this movie. But you don't really get that from the trailers, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you ahead of time. The movie's pretty long. It's almost 2.5 hours. And it's split into 2 halves. I think the second half is a lot weaker than the first half. The first half is pretty much all the clips in the trailers that you've seen are from the first half of the movie. But it's, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. The makeup and the set design are perfect for the late 1920s. It should definitely be nominated, probably win Best Makeup or Best Set Design, or at least be nominated, because it really puts you in the mood of the 1920s. And it almost feels like a black and white movie at times, but it is in color, but it almost feels like black and white. That's how the feel of the movie and the colors of the movie put themselves forward. It's really good atmosphere. It's a very disturbing movie. It really gets you emotionally involved, and I think the acting is great from everybody. Jolie is great. She should be nominated for Best Actress, definitely. And a lot of the supporting cast is very good as well. So overall, like I said, it's a little bit long and it is a bit uneven during the second half of the film. But everything else, I think, is pitch perfect. I think if you like Clint Eastwood movies and if you like movies like Mystic River or Gone Baby Gone, then definitely check this movie out. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars out of 4. Now, on to Quantum of Solace, the new James Bond movie. This movie comes off of Casino Royale. It takes place immediately after Casino Royale. You could put the two together and have like a 4-hour movie, and it would just seem like one big long 4-hour movie. I mean, it doesn't skip a beat. No one looks older. A whole bunch of characters from Casino Royale are back. So you have to see the first Casino Royale before you see this. I saw this with my brother. He hadn't seen Casino Royale. I told him what happened in Casino Royale, but he still felt that he really needed to see Casino Royale because it does. It picks up immediately after. So you really have to see the first one because it sets up the revenge factor that is so prevalent throughout Quantum of Solace about Bond wanting to get revenge. If you've seen Casino Royale, I'm about to say something that's maybe considered a spoiler, so close your ears and eyes if you can read lips for the next 5 seconds. In the first one, the love of his life, Vesper, died, and so now he wants revenge. Okay, you can unplug your ears now. So he wants revenge for that, but you know, he's a secret agent. He's not supposed to let his emotions get in the way, and that's pretty much the struggle going on in the movie. The action scenes, I like the action scenes in the first one a lot better. In this one, they seem, I don't know, there's not as many, they're not as big. I mean, it runs pretty well as a whole, but there aren't any great individual scenes like there were in Casino Royale, like the torture scene and the opening chase scene and the crumbling building shootout in Casino Royale. There aren't really any scenes like that that really stood out to me in this one. The acting, it's an action movie. You know, it's inconsequential, and I think that's the big thing here. Is this movie is pretty much just an action movie. I mean, it's a good action movie, but it doesn't. If this is what Bond is supposed to feel like, he feels like every other action movie I've seen. And I think that's what a lot of people are complaining about, is they've grown up with Bond, and this just doesn't seem like the Bond they've grown up with. It's mature, it's got some decent underlying themes, but this one, it's also a lot shorter than the first one, so it's got a lot less character development. Overall, it's a solid action movie. I'm going to give it 3 stars and a recommendation just because the action scenes are solid. It's a well-made film. It's entertaining, but it just doesn't have the depth that the first one had, which would probably get 4 stars from me. And it just feels like an action movie. It doesn't really feel like Bond. So, those are my 2 reviews. I definitely recommend Changeling. I'd recommend Quantum of Solace probably for a matinee, though. Alright. I don't know when the next movie I'll review is, because I certainly don't want to review Bolt and Twilight for this upcoming Friday. But I'll definitely review Transporter.